Why celebrities are paying 1M over MSRP for the 2026 Lamborghini Revuelto. People are paying $1 million extra just to skip a waiting list. Not for a house, not for a business, for a Lamborghini. This is the 2026 Lamborghini Revuelto. And owning it early might be the most expensive flex in the world, because this isn't really about the car, it's about time. And in today's world, time has become the most expensive luxury of all. The official price of the Revuelto sits around $600,000, which already places it among the most exclusive performance machines ever built. For most people, that number alone feels extreme. But inside elite circles, that price is just the starting point. Behind closed doors, celebrities and ultra-wealthy buyers are quietly paying up to $1 million over MSRP, not for customization, not for upgrades, and not for anything physical, just to get it earlier than everyone else. And that one detail completely changes how you should look at this car. Because in today's attention-driven economy, owning something is no longer enough. What matters is when you own it. If you're early, you dominate attention. If you're late, you become irrelevant. That's the difference. And the Revuelto exists right at that intersection. At first glance, it looks like the natural successor to the legendary Lamborghini Aventador. It carries forward the aggressive design, the dramatic presence, and the unmistakable identity that Lamborghini is known for. But underneath, something fundamental has changed. This is Lamborghini's first step into hybrid performance at the highest level, a naturally aspirated 6.5-liter V12 engine combined with 3 electric motors, producing over 1,000 horsepower. It's a system designed not to replace the past, but to evolve it. The electric motors fill in the gaps where traditional engines fall short, creating instant torque and sharper response. The result is something that feels both familiar and completely new. For collectors, that combination is incredibly powerful because it represents a transition moment, a point in time where the old world of raw combustion meets the new world of electrification. And moments like that don't happen often. When they do, they tend to become historically significant. But even that doesn't fully explain why someone would pay an extra $1 million. The real answer lies somewhere else. Scarcity. Lamborghini doesn't produce cars at scale. Production is tightly controlled, and early allocations are limited. Long-term clients, repeat buyers, and high-value relationships get priority access. These are individuals who have spent years building a connection with the brand. And if you're not part of that inner circle, you wait. Sometimes for years, even if you have the money. This creates a gap between supply and demand that cannot be solved through official channels. And whenever that happens, a secondary system emerges, a quiet, private market where access itself becomes a product. In this space, people are not buying the car. They're buying someone else's place in line. An early production slot becomes an asset, and that asset can be resold at a premium. In many cases, that premium reaches hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. For outsiders, it seems irrational. But for those inside this world, it makes perfect sense, because what they're really buying is time. They're taking a 2-year wait and compressing it into a few months. And for celebrities, that shift is everything, because relevance doesn't operate on long timelines. It moves fast. It shifts quickly. And once a moment passes, it doesn't come back. If a celebrity gets the Revuelto during its peak hype cycle, the impact is immediate. Social media explodes with engagement. News outlets pick up the story. The car becomes part of their public image at exactly the right time. But if they get it later, when the hype has cooled down, the effect is completely different. The same car suddenly feels less important. The same moment carries less weight. That's why timing becomes more valuable than the product itself. And once you understand that, the extra million stops looking like waste. It starts looking like strategy. This is where the psychology becomes even more interesting. The Revuelto is what economists call a positional asset. Its value is not just based on what it is, but on how it compares to what others have. Owning one places you in an elite category. Owning one early places you above that category. It signals something deeper, not just wealth, but access. And access is far more difficult to obtain. Because wealth can be earned, scaled, and displayed, access has to be granted. It's controlled, it's selective. And that's what makes it powerful. This is also why social media plays such a critical role in the equation. A hypercar today is not just a vehicle, it's a content engine. A single post featuring the Revuelto can generate millions of impressions. It can drive engagement, increase followers, and create opportunities that extend far beyond the car itself. For influencers and celebrities, this turns the purchase into a calculated move. They're not just buying a car, they're buying visibility. And the earlier they get it, the greater the return. Because attention always peaks at the beginning. That's when curiosity is highest. That's when people are watching. That's when being first actually matters. Lamborghini understands this dynamic perfectly. They don't just build cars. They create anticipation. Every launch is designed to build hype long before the product reaches customers. Limited availability ensures that demand always exceeds supply. By the time the car is delivered, it already carries a sense of mythology. That perception drives behavior in the market. Dealerships operate within this system, but they also add another layer to it. Officials may be fixed, but allocations are not. Relationships influence decisions, loyalty is rewarded, and access is distributed carefully. For new buyers, this creates a barrier. And when barriers exist, alternative pathways emerge. Private brokers, closed networks, and secondary deals become the only way in. That's where premiums become unavoidable. Because in that environment, price is no longer the main factor. Access is. The Revuelto sits perfectly within this structure. It represents a rare combination of innovation, scarcity, and cultural relevance. It's not just another model release. It's a moment that people want to be part of. And when multiple forces align like this, prices move aggressively. But there's another angle that makes this even more compelling. Long-term value. Cars like this don't always behave like traditional assets. Limited production models often appreciate over time, especially when they represent a turning point in automotive history. DAOs such as the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ have already shown how scarcity and demand can push prices higher in the secondary market. The Revuelto, being Lamborghini's first high-performance hybrid V12, could follow a similar trajectory. For some buyers, this makes the premium feel justified, not guaranteed, but possible. And when you combine potential appreciation with immediate attention, the decision becomes easier to rationalize. But even beyond investment logic, there is something else at play. Emotion, because at this level, purchases are not purely rational. They are driven by identity, by positioning, by the desire to be seen at the right time, in the right place, with the right object. And the Revuelto delivers that perfectly. It is loud, aggressive, futuristic, and impossible to ignore. It demands attention. And for people whose lives are built around attention, that matters more than anything, because in the end, this is not really about owning a Lamborghini. It's about owning a moment. That moment when the car is new, when the world is watching, when being early actually means something. That moment when everyone else is still waiting and you're already there. That is what people are paying for. Not the engine, not the design, not even the performance, but the advantage of being first. And in a world where attention is one of the most valuable currencies, that advantage is worth more than most people realize, which is why they're willing to spend an extra $1 million without hesitation. Because for them, it's not an expense, it's positioning. And positioning, at that level, defines everything. If you want to understand how the world's elite really use money, not just to buy things, but to control attention, timing, and perception, make sure you subscribe. Because this isn't just about cars, it's about power, and we're only getting started.